Welcome to where we uncover the hidden truths about the world around us. In today's video, we're diving into a topic that affects millions of people every day, the U.S. education system. While it is often considered the cornerstone of American opportunity, there are some hidden truths that are often overlooked. Let's break down the secrets that you weren't told about the U.S. education system. First, let's talk about conformity. The U.S. education system has long been critiqued for pushing conformity over individuality. From the way students are graded, to the rigid schedules and expectations, the system often encourages students to follow a set path instead of cultivating their unique talents. Schools teach students to memorize facts and follow instructions, but many argue that it discourages creativity and critical thinking. The truth is, our education system often fails to nurture independent thought, leaving many students underprepared for a world that values innovation. Next, we need to talk about the funding disparities that are built into the system. Did you know that the U.S. education system relies heavily on local property taxes to fund schools? This means that wealthier districts with higher property values get more funding, while poorer communities are left with underfunded schools. This funding gap creates an unequal playing field, where students in affluent areas have access to better resources, technology, and extracurricular programs. Meanwhile, students in lower-income areas often face overcrowded classrooms, outdated textbooks, and limited access to technology. The result? A perpetuating cycle of inequality. The next truth is even harder to ignore: the persistent racial and socioeconomic segregation in schools. Despite efforts to desegregate schools in the 1960s, many schools across the U.S. remain racially and economically divided. The system tends to segregate not only by race but also by class, meaning that students in wealthier districts often have access to better education, regardless of their race. On the other hand, schools in economically disadvantaged neighborhoods often lack the resources and staff to provide quality education, creating an uneven learning experience based on where you live. Another issue with the system lies in standardized testing. While tests like the SAT and ACT are supposed to measure a student's academic ability, many argue that they don't accurately reflect a student's potential. Standardized tests don't account for a student's unique learning style, background, or personal circumstances. The result is that students from disadvantaged backgrounds may not perform well, even if they have great potential. Worse yet, schools often prioritize teaching to the test, which can limit students' ability to explore topics that are not tested, thus stifling their curiosity. What about the history we are taught? It's often been said that history is written by the victors, and in the case of U.S. education, many argue that history is written from a narrow perspective. For instance, Native American history is often confined to outdated narratives about colonization, with little focus on the ongoing struggles of indigenous communities. Similarly, African American history is frequently condensed into slavery and civil rights, leaving out broader contributions to society. A more inclusive curriculum could offer a fuller understanding of the past and present. Then, there are the shifts in educational policy. In recent years, there have been significant cuts to funding for public education, including the Department of Education itself. This reduction in resources has resulted in fewer counselors, social workers, and staff available to help students succeed. Moreover, policies have also impacted how schools are held accountable. With an overemphasis on testing and standardized metrics, educators feel pressured to teach in ways that may not serve every student's needs, limiting their ability to adapt to the specific challenges of their classroom. But there's an even darker side to the education system: the school-to-prison pipeline. In many school districts, students of color, particularly Black and Latino students, are disproportionately disciplined, often facing harsher penalties for minor infractions. This contributes to a higher likelihood of entering the criminal justice system, perpetuating a cycle of inequality. The school-to-prison pipeline is a direct result of a system that criminalizes students instead of providing them with the tools to succeed. Schools should be places where students feel safe and supported, but for many, they represent a pathway to incarceration rather than education. So, what can we do about all of this? The truth is, the U.S. education system is deeply flawed and entrenched in inequality. But awareness is the first step. By understanding these hidden truths, we can start to push for change, whether it's advocating for more equitable funding, rethinking standardized testing, or pushing for a more inclusive and comprehensive curriculum. We need to remember that education is a right, not a privilege, and every child deserves the opportunity to thrive, regardless of their race, background, or socioeconomic status. If you found this video enlightening, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden truths of the world. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the U.S. education system and how you think we can fix it. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and never stop seeking the untold truths. Thanks for watching.